I feel like we've touched on a lot of the book. But the psychology of public relations, the humans are more driven by emotion than facts. And I think we kind of touched on that with the car thing. It's like, I bought a WRX, right? Now we talked to Subaru safety, but, that car is not selling safety. That car is selling speed and exhilaration, adrenaline, whatever, right. It's a fun car. And so basically like propaganda, the part of the purpose of it is to tap into some deeper desire or fear or whatever.
You're trying to get someone to buy your story, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that story is. And, so the official definition of propaganda that they try to rehabilitate, in that it's information, right? It's information that you need in order to come to a decision about this topic. And because of the way that it was misused, right? And during the 1930s, this book was written in 28, and most of the what was written during the 1930s and that about propaganda was negative, was how bad it was. So that's why, it has the pejorative sense today. You can't get around it. You can never say today in 2025 that here's propaganda and people are going to go, get that shit out of here.
Well, and yeah, because of, what was happening, it's almost like that word, propaganda, I guess it gets paired with that term Nazi, speaking of the 1930s. Well, it's almost like a lot of times, and maybe it's just because of the current political climate that I've been hearing it a lot more, but it just feels like those two words are paired together a lot, making the definition of propaganda more negative, because it's like you're pairing it with
something that is clearly
bad, right?
Right. And but also that's part of how this actually works, right? Because you'll say that, okay, now I'm going to take propaganda, I'm going to use the word, and now every time I use the word propaganda, I'm going to use it with references to National Socialism, right?
Yeah.
In the 1930s. And so suddenly now that connection may or may not be true, accurate, or anything else, but you make it often enough through the channels that he's described. And what happens? Suddenly a mass of people move.
Yeah.
And this is what Lippmann talked about in his book, Public Opinion, And one of the things that I thought was interesting that Bernays picked up on, although he didn't say it outright, was what Lippmann talked about was that what we respond to most of the time is what he called a pseudo-environment. So there's what happens in the world, and then there's our interpretation in our head about what happened out there. And what we actually respond to is our interpretation. And so by making a picture and putting it in your head, I can get you to respond to that picture instead of what's actually happening.